Hello everyone, it's David here from Beyond the Kingdoms, and I'm reporting in today with something I know you've been eagerly waiting for. My full review of this year's not-so-scary Halloween party. New for 2019, we've got a new ticket option for those of you who want to go to the party over and over and over again. We've got some subtle changes when it comes to trick-or-treat trails and characters, and a brand new fireworks show to talk about. So let's not waste any more time and jump right in to today's review. I want to start today by talking about the new Halloween Party Pass. Yes, Disney has released a new ticket option that allows you to go to almost all of the party nights for the season. There are 36 nights of the event this year, and the Party Pass will let you get into 35. You can't go to the one on Halloween night, but you can go to all the other ones. Now, this Party Pass is priced at $299. And my first impression was that is a little ridiculous to me. But then I started to see it from a different angle. If you're a local and live in Orlando and you really love the Halloween party, then yes, it makes a lot of sense because after going 3 times, you're really getting ahead. But I personally don't think I would spend this kind of money on that. I immediately thought there's a whole lot of other things I can do for $300. I could build a droid and a lightsaber in Galaxy's Edge, or I can even go to 2, maybe even 3 signature restaurants. But I can now understand how some people will say, David, I spend my money in a different way and I would prefer the Halloween party over building a lightsaber. So I can now understand how there's different sides to this argument. But I have one concern about this, and that's why I want to talk about it here. I'm now wondering if Disney's going to sell the same number of single party tickets. Because I'm worried that if you attend on a sellout night, and Disney sells the same number of tickets as it did last year, and then you've got this huge influx of Party Pass people coming in, does that mean the party's going to be even more crowded? And to be honest, we really don't know the answer to that one. I will admit that on this first night, it did not sell out, and it really wasn't that crowded. I was really surprised. But I have a sneaking suspicion that any of the bloggers who don't live in Florida are coming next week and doing the Halloween party, Food and Wine, and Galaxy's Edge all at the same time. So I think this Party Pass really throws a wrench in it. If you follow crowd calendars a lot, which I have in the past, I now think that those are not as relevant anymore because yes, generally speaking, the cheaper nights are less crowded, but who knows how many of these Party Pass people will come on that night as well. So this is a little bit tricky. I can see how for some people it's a good deal and they can go over and over and over again. I personally wouldn't do it because I think going more than twice is a little excessive for me, and it possibly ruins the specialness of the party. You can't have too much of a good thing in my book. But above all else, I'm just concerned and curious about how the crowds will be affected by this. So I want to know what you guys think. Are you going to be purchasing this Party Pass, or is this way out of the budget? Let me know in the comment section down below. Alright, let's move on to the next section of my review, recapping any changes to the trick-or-treat trails and character locations. And the good news is that there's not too many adjustments this year. Starting with trick-or-treating, there's only one major update to candy trails, and it's over in Frontierland. We've got a new trail in the porch area of the Diamond Horseshoe. This is replacing the Columbia Harbor House Trail that we saw last year and the Liberty Square Riverboat Trail that we've seen in previous years. Now, I think this happened because there are some construction walls around the Liberty Square Market seating area, so traffic can get a little tight in that area. So it makes sense that they moved it down into Frontierland a little bit more. The other adjustment in this land is that the trail that was at the Tom Sawyer Raft Landing last year has now been pushed back into Miners Cove. This is closer to the Big Thunder Mountain exit. And across the park, the trick-or-treat trail at the Monsters, Inc. laugh floor got a little update this year. When you go through the attraction now, you'll have 2 candy buckets, which is always really good, but in between, you can sit down and enjoy the laugh floor because the actors and the show is running continuously throughout the night. So it's a nice way to sit down and take a break. And I want to add that the monstrous Scream-O-Ween ball is still happening this year. I wasn't sure about that, but I can confirm that it's still happening near the Tomorrowland stage area by Astro Orbiter. Now, if I can be honest with you in terms of trick-or-treating, I seem to think that the right side of the park of Fantasyland and Tomorrowland is better than the other side. I think those adjustments in Frontierland are tricky, the Miners Cove one seems a little too far out of the way, and I get worried later into the night when the parades start coming through that traffic gets really tricky. So if you're not doing all the trick-or-treat trails and you want to know where the best place is to go, stick to Fantasyland and Tomorrowland. Now, let's move on to characters. And like I suspected, Jack and Sally are indeed meeting in Town Square Theater. Cast members told me that last year, halfway through the Halloween season, the characters moved. When I went to the party in August in 2018, they were still at the gazebo, but later in the season, they moved into Town Square Theater. But this year, they're in there from the get-go, and they are as popular as ever. Now, I got my wristband a little early and made a beeline to Main Street, and I got in line right at 4 o'clock. If you want to meet these two, I'm convinced that this is the only way to do it. You're still going to wait in a long line because I didn't get out until 6 p.m., but to get to do them first and out before the party starts is the best way to go. But I'll save more tips for a future video coming up soon. Now, since Jack and Sally are in Town Square Theater, this means that the Liberty Square gazebo has opened up. And this is where you'll meet the gravediggers from the Haunted Mansion. This is a great character meet and greet to do in my book because it's really easy, the line doesn't get long, and it's truly special to Halloween. It feels very appropriate, and the guys who do this are fantastic. I also want to confirm that Minnie Mouse is still meeting in Storybook Circus all by herself, and she's in her witch costume. And in a separate line in the same area, you can meet Donald and Daisy together, just like you could last year, and Donald's in his pumpkin costume and Daisy's in her princess costume. All of the other character locations have stayed exactly the same, so if you watched my guide, all of that is pretty much accurate. But if you really want to navigate through this event easily, head over to my website and download my Halloween Party Pocket Guide. I'll give you tips for the party, my favorite snacks, and best of all, the exact locations of all of the characters. I'll even tell you which ones are the most popular and who comes out a little bit before 7 p.m. Keep in mind that anything is subject to change, but this will give you a good running head start for the night. Alright, let's move on to reviewing some of the new additions for 2019. I was very lucky to get to attend the Cruella's Halloween Hideaway over at Tony's Town Square restaurant. This is an all-you-can-eat buffet and runs from 9:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m., so this actually goes on a little bit past the party is officially over. There was a section of antipastas and salads in a middle buffet section that was pretty good. A sort of hot main entree section that had some meatballs, arancini balls, and even a chef cooking up fresh butternut squash ravioli that was quite good. And a little dessert section. Now I want to point out that the desserts were not the same as the specialty treats that you can purchase around the park during the event. It's its own complete lineup, and they're themed to 101 Dalmatians and pretty cute. Another bonus is that you have alcohol included in this, and that's something to keep in mind. And of course, since this is Cruella's party, you can meet her yourself at this event, so it's an easy way to knock out one more character. The real kicker to this is that it comes with a reserved viewing area of the second parade, right in a prime spot in Town Square. But let me be honest with you, the food is just mediocre. I think the only types of people that will really get their money's worth out of this are couples who really like to drink because that's something special that you don't get to do around Magic Kingdom. And if one of you is a photographer or likes to shoot video and wants that prime spot of the parade, because let me tell you, it does not get any better than this. And what I loved was that when I was in this section, there was hardly anyone around me. I had my camera, my tripod set up, and I could easily get all the shots I wanted. And for that reason alone, I enjoyed it. But the food, not so much. In some ways, I think the dessert party that comes with reserved viewing for the fireworks might be slightly better, but I didn't do it, so I really can't comment on that. But I'm thinking about doing it for Christmas. In terms of the parade, it's as fantastic as ever. I finally got to see the Headless Horseman come down because in previous years I've been rained out for that. And the new additions were cute and easy. There's a new Tomorrowland unit featuring Buzz Lightyear and The Incredibles with Edna Mode. To me, this is a very basic upgrade, nothing too spectacular or jaw-dropping, but the one little upgrade that I really enjoyed was the bride added to the Haunted Mansion unit. Again, it's simple, it's just one person, but I think the lighting effects they used was really great, and it just adds a little extra magic to that section. The Boo to You parade is always fantastic. You have to do it, but like I always say, try to go to that second viewing. It's a little bit easier to get a good spot. And finally, we have a new fireworks show, the Not So Spooky Spectacular. Now, Disney promised that this would be a fantastic show taking advantage of all the new technology that was installed for Happily Ever After. That is certainly true, the projections are great. I personally love the section of the ballroom dancers from the Haunted Mansion. That was really beautiful to watch. But I kind of felt that the fireworks were a little bit light. This really felt like a great projection show with some fireworks, as opposed to a fireworks spectacular with beautiful projections, which I think Happily Ever After could be classified as. I really didn't like the previous show, so in some ways this is a little bit better because the storyline is more concise, it makes more sense. You're following Mickey and his friends into a haunted house, but I felt that the pacing of the music was a little stumbly. I didn't get swept up with emotion like I do during the Christmas fireworks. I do think it's cool that they added a Jack Skellington puppet, and I was surprised that even if you're at the back of the hub, you actually can see him pretty well. But if you really want a good view of him, you have to get closer to the castle. And in this instance, I don't think that's bad because there's more projections than fireworks. So it was okay. I liked it. It was really pretty. It didn't knock my socks off. But I'm happy to see updates because the fireworks show really needed it. So, final thoughts. The Halloween party is as great as ever. I think we're in this great time when they've recently updated the stage show with Hocus Pocus. We've got new fireworks and the parade is in great shape. And so everything that's offered is fantastic at the moment. There's no weak spots to it. Now, you've heard me say this before, I'm definitely a Christmas person, but the Halloween party still outshines Christmas in my book. I got lucky that the crowds were manageable on the night I went. Like I said, we'll see how that goes with the new party pass. But the fact that there's way more opportunity to do this makes this easier to do. And I've always loved that trick-or-treating and the fact that you can dress up in costumes. I think that adds an extra element of fun that the Christmas party doesn't quite have. Now, like I always say, you have to go into these things with a plan because it's very easy to spend the near $100 per person and get stuck in a line for too long and not enjoy yourself. So I think you can either have a great time if you know what you're doing or have a really bad time if you don't know how to navigate through it. In comparison to Disney After Hours, I think Halloween and that are the two best events at Magic Kingdom, but they're very different. I would say if you're really after the rides, After Hours is the better one to go to. I know it's not offered right now, but I think it will come back in 2020. I would definitely skip out on Cruella's Hideaway unless you're a drinker or you're just really after that fantastic spot for the parade, but I think you can get just as good of a spot if you get there early for the second one. Overall, I still had a fantastic time at the Halloween party and hope all of you guys do as well. But that will have to do it for today's review. But stay tuned later this week for my Foodie Friday review of my favorite snacks and treats for the Halloween season at Magic Kingdom. And I will be doing a tips video very soon here on the channel. But if you're going to the party before that, make sure you download my pocket guide. I promise it'll give you a good amount of information to make the most out of your time. But like always, thank you so much for watching, and remember, if you can dream it, you can do it.